Hello, welcome to Youth Open Shop Live. Now, I don't know if you guys will probably ever see this. This will be on the live stream. So join us for the live streams for all the fun shenanigans. But we were just running around with our chickens with our heads cut off, just going everywhere over here. No, that's not true. But we were just streaming and we realized there wasn't audio. Hopefully there is audio now. Did you unmute Zoom? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm Ryan and welcome to Youth Open Shop Live. I'm here at the Ogden Bicycle Collective with JP and Kirsty, and we're here to answer your questions and help you learn more about bikes. This is a weekly stream that we do every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And you can join us by going to the Zoom webinar, or you can view them on YouTube. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, the link to the Zoom webinar is down below. Otherwise, it's always tiny.cc/YOS-Live, and you can go there. Now, we've got some other links here too, and this is, if you want to submit a question, tiny.cc/YOS-LQuestion. Oops, I got to stop hiding behind the seat. I keep doing that. I usually don't hide behind bicycles, but when I do, you'll never see me coming. I'm just kidding. We've also got the newsletter if you want to sign up for that. And finally, my email address if you want to submit a photo, which leads nicely into our safety rules. Now, we got some internet safety rules here. If we go over these in a lot more detail in previous videos. So if you want to watch those are actually on our YouTube page as well. But just to go over them real quick, first rule, be excellent to each other. Second, guard your privacy. Third, when you submit bike photos, keep them against a simple background. And finally, always ask for permission before you post if you're under the age of 18. All right, next up, we have work safety because we're working on bikes today and we want you guys to be safe. So always use the right tool for the job. Today's tool, we're going to be changing the brakes. So we got a wrench. And we'll go over what's the right tool and the wrong tool as we go through. And we also always want you to ask for help if you need it. If you need help holding something or using a tool you haven't used before, always ask. And always keep safety in mind. Your safety is very important, so keep it in mind, and the safety of those around you too. You want to keep them in mind too. All right, so let's get into it. We've got a fun little project today. We're back with our purple Pacific Chromium 24-inch. I don't know how many speeds it has. I didn't count, but I'm sure it's like 21 or something. But we've got this great little bike here, and we want to fix it up and get it all ready to donate. So what we've got is, so far, we've cleaned it, we've changed the tires, we've learned how to lock it up. That was last week's stream. But this week, we're going to learn how to change the brakes because these brakes are all bent. Now, I took the wheel off so that would be easier to see. But unfortunately, my new friend, BrakeCam 9000, he got a little too hot in this hot building today. So he doesn't want to work. That's okay. We'll introduce my friend in another episode, I promise. We're working on that. So what we've got here, though, is, and that's why I put the backdrop 9000 as well, official name. And we also have different things that we need to fix on this bike. But having fun on a bike is great. But having fun on a bike that can't stop is a little scary. So we're going to fix the brakes on this so it can stop. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting on some nice side pull brakes. This already had side pull brakes on it. Let me turn it sideways here. Dun, 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 ta-da. So we've had some side pull brakes there, but these ones are all bent, so we're putting new ones on, these nice, awesome pink ones. And we've got some new brake pads as well. So, like I said, this one has side pull brakes. Now, there are lots of different kinds of brakes, and we're not going to go over all the different kinds, but if you go to our website, bicyclecollective.org, you can click on the little education tab, and then you can, oh, thank you, JP. JP's helping us with the AC. We don't want to turn it on. It's really loud, but it doesn't mean poor BrakeCam 9000 needs to be the only victim to overheat. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, if you want to learn more about how to fix other kinds of brake pads, go to bicyclecollective.org, click the education button in the top right-hand side of the web page, and you'll be able to go and look at topics, articles, videos about all sorts of things. And right now, there's actually videos posted by, I believe, Park Tools on how to fix the other different kinds of brakes. V brakes that are pull in like this, or cantilever brakes that pull in like this. And there's other different kinds of things you can learn and find out there as well. And of course, you can always go check out our previous live streams. But oh, and I believe on the Ogden Facebook channel, you can check out JP's classes where he goes over all sorts of more advanced topics on fixing bikes and whatnot. So yeah. All right, but as for now, we're just going to fix up our good old friend, the Pacific Chromium here, and put on these brakes. Now, the first step is we're actually going to remove the old brakes. Now, brakes have a lot of this style of brakes usually has a big, long bolt that runs through the middle. Now, there's two sets of nuts at either end of the bolt. There's these two nuts at the front, and they hold the two arms together. Usually, if those are wiggly, you're probably going to want to find a video on how to fix those. We won't go over that today. It is a little more advanced, and it does require you have a thin wrench to be able to do it properly, but it is possible to fix. Everything on a bike is possible to fix, and you can do it. You just have to learn how, and we'll help you learn some of that. But the other nut at the other end of the bolt holds the whole brakes to the bike. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to grab our wrench. I put it down somewhere. That's okay. I've also got this adjustable wrench. And this is an example of the right tool for the job. You don't want to use too big of a wrench, so a little adjustable one is perfect. Too big of a wrench, you could strip the nut, and that would be bad. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this one all the way off. Dun, dun, dun. And then I can get the rest of the way with my fingers, and boom, that'll just pop off. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get the new one on. The way we do that is you'll notice that there's actually two washers, and we're going to put the front, and a lot of the time these washers are curved on the inside. It's very hard to see. I'm sure it's like, if you were seeing this on the video, it's like 1 pixel of difference. But it is, you'll notice that they're very slightly curved. And that's because the spot where they mount onto is round. So they curve around the round bit of where it mounts to the bike. So we slot that through the hole, put the other side on, and then screw it in. All right, now this is now most of you will not have to replace the whole brake calipers on your bike. You will if they're bent like these ones were. Oops. But a problem that most people will have, however, is that you will need to realign the brakes. What I mean by realign the brakes is that sometimes they'll be off center and they'll be rubbing on one side. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to loosen this back bolt just a little bit, and then oh, that's where the tape went. I was wondering where the tape was. It was under my milk crate. What you're going to need to do, let me turn it sideways here, is we're going to need, because sometimes it'll be crooked. Obviously, not this crooked, that'd be bad. What we need to do is we need to hold them centered. We hold them centered with one hand, and then we loosen the bolt to center them. And then we tighten the bolt again to make sure they stay there. All right, let's see. It's a hot day in August, but JP's here to help. All right, so now they're mostly centered. Now, obviously, they're not going to stay perfectly centered because there's a spring on the other side, and that's just what they're supposed to do. You just want to make sure they're about as centered as you can get them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to center them a tiny bit more, because when I squeeze them together, I want them to touch both sides about equally. That's close. So I'm going to leave it there. All right, turn the wheel back. And what we're going to do is we are going to put on the new brake pads. Now, brake pads, there's different styles. If you have disc brakes, they're actually little mats that you stick in there, and there's videos on that. We'll cover those today. But here are a couple different styles of brakes. First up, we've got the smooth post that doesn't have a bolt on it. It's just smooth metal. And then these go on to a specific style, usually cantilever. Then we have these ones that have like this cool little shark fin on them. Those are usually for road bikes. And the bolt actually goes into them. And then we have some, this one's actually metal where the pad slides into them. These are less common. They're usually for nicer bikes or bikes where you want to just set the brake pad and then not have to worry about it later. But with most brake pads, some brake pads, you can put them on either side, left or right. But on a lot of brake pads, it'll say L or R. And so that means you're going to want to put it on the left side or the right side of the bike. You don't want to put, it's like you don't want to put your left shoe on your right foot because then you'll walk funny. If you do that on a bike, then you'll brake funny. And that's usually a little more dangerous than putting on the wrong shoe. So make sure when you see it, that if it says L, put it on the left side. If it says R, put it on the right side. All right, but these ones that I've got here, they're ambidextrous, meaning that they can go on either side. But you will notice that they're slightly curved. So we've got the slight curve. And what that means is we want the curve to be curved with the wheel. You don't want it to be curved upside down. No matter how happy you are to have new brakes, you don't want them smiling, just have them frowning there on your rim. They'll be sad, but you'll be happy. All right. But so on the brakes, there's a couple components. And RIP Brake Cam 9000, I'd show you these in close up. But what we have here is a bunch of washers. And these washers are special. Here, maybe I'll come around and I'll get close up to the camera so I can show you. All right. Is that too close?
You're good.
Okay, cool. So what we've got here is we've got the threaded post and we've got the washers. Oops. Dink, dink. And those go on like that. We're going to take two of them off, leave the two on. And these washers are special. Sorry, I'm back. Because one side is a cone. It's rounded on top. And one side is curved inward like a bowl. It's a cup. And what these do is when you put them together, they slide around. So you can slide them around. All right, I'm going to go back now. All right, I'm back. Okay, so what we're going to do is usually these are of different sizes. The long part is going to be on the inside towards the brake pad, and the short one is going to be on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. So I put this side on. I just put it through the brake pad there. I put the cone and the cup on the inside. And usually you want to put the cones against the brake pads. And what we're going to do is we're just going to align them a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze the brake calipers together. Then I'm going to get the nut and screw that on. So to hold it into place. Now you don't need to screw it in super tight yet, but we will here in a second. Okay, now this one doesn't have the tire. I left the tire off so that way you'd be more able to like see what it would look like when the brake pad's touching the rim. But you want to make sure that your brake pads don't rub against your tire, or else it'll wear away the tire and could pop your tube, and then you'd have flat tires, and that's no fun. Then you'd have to replace the tire. It's a whole thing. So make sure there's two rules when you're aligning the brake pads. One, the curve, oh wait, there's more than two rules, but the curve needs to go with the curve of the rim. The left or right the left pad needs to be on the left side, the right pad needs to be on the right side, and that's when you're sitting on the bike, not when you're facing the front of it. When you're sitting on the bike, the left pad goes on the left side. And the other rules, you want to make sure that it's not rubbing the tire, but you also don't want to make sure that it's not hanging off the bottom of the tire. Because if it's hanging off the bottom, it'll wear a groove into the brake pad, and then you'll have these weird, like, sharp-edged brake pads. You probably have a bike at home. I know I do, that has sharp-edged brake pads. So make sure that you put that on and make sure that it's on the rim, but not overhanging onto. Oh, and this is another good point. Got a question. It says, what's the point of the little cups and cone washers? Well, the reason for that, I actually forgot to bring that up. Thanks for asking. That was from Anonymous. You can always post anonymously. Is you can swivel the pad. Let me show it with this front one here. Let me tighten this backside. So you can actually, when it's loose, you can swivel it up and down all around. Just so that way it's, when you press the brakes down, it's flush against the rim. So that way, when you hit the brakes, the whole brake pad is hitting the rim. So that way it's not only partially hitting the rim. So we want the whole brake pad hitting the rim. So that way you have all the stopping power. So that way, when you need to screech to a halt, you can. Otherwise, having brakes that don't work all the way is kind of terrifying. So there? Okay, there's a cable in my face. So, all right, so we've aligned the brake pads. Now, next week, we're actually going to go over cable tension, because that's kind of a whole thing. And hopefully, BrakeCam 9000, you can join us next week. Let's all hope that BrakeCam 9000 makes it. He will. He'll pull through. F in the chat for BrakeCam 9000. He will be missed, but he'll come back and he'll be great. Well, I don't know, huh? Anyway, so we've got the brake pads aligned. All right, so let's go over, before we go into the Q&A, I think that's it for the work portion today, but before we go, we'd also do a Q&A, just off topic, any question you want to ask. And before we go into that, we'd just like to share, we'd like to invite you guys to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, join us on the Zoom webinar and submit a comment next week, or go to the links down below and submit a comment so we can answer them next week, whether it's about something we already went over, something we haven't gone over. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a whole episode about your question. That would be cool. So yeah, join us and submit your comments, ask your questions. So now, oh, okay. This is a question from Katie from Ogden. How do I know which side of the bike is on the right or the left side? Well, when you're sitting on the bike, you form an L with both hands. And whichever one's an L is your left side. No, it's like a lot of times when I'm working on bikes, I usually work on them from the front because that's the easiest way to access it. But it's important to remember that left and right refers to when you're sitting on the bike. Left side, right side. So the part the chain's on, this is called the drivetrain. JP just brought this up. Maybe, I don't know if you heard it, but oh, he's being quiet. Yes, like a snail. That was interesting. Anyway, the drivetrain, this part here, is always on the right side. So that's one way to remember that. So we've got lots of other videos, lots of other things you can ask about. That was a good question. That was kind of on topic. If you have off-topic questions about anything bike-related, just go ahead and share them with us. So we've also been doing our best to post all these to YouTube. So go ahead, watch those old videos. Let us know what you think. And if enough interest in one of the videos, we'll probably do it again because, you know, we need to cover, there's always something more you can learn about bikes. And I love learning more about bikes. I've learned as much from you guys. I've learned from all my years doing this. So thank you all so much. Next week, we'll go over cable tension, how to get the cables right for your brakes. We'll reattach this loose cable. Where'd it go? Here it is. We'll reattach this loose cable here, so that way we can brake again. But I'd like to thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Ryan here at the Ogden Bicycle Collective. It's been Youth Open Shop Live. You guys go out there, ride your bikes, have a good day, be safe. Thanks for joining us.